Be a voice.
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 Visit WisconsinVoices.org.
Visit WisconsinVoices.org.
Visit WisconsinVoices.org.
And learn more on how to be a voice with Wisconsin Voice.
They said Tamika Vukovic. I said, yes, that's me. How did you get that name? I said, well, my husband, I got, why didn't you hyphenate it? I said, honestly, I'll tell you, when I got ready to hyphenate and you signed your license, I went to Mika, Chantel, Gray. I was like, oh no, these are too many letters. And then I didn't want my daughter to be the only Black Vukovic. So that's why I kept my name.
That's like you have so many questions anyway. I would have said, Your Honor, 40 years ago. My grandfather was
And a lot of questions asked about where'd you get your name from and why you didn't hype.
yes.
So
So let's get to talking about these elections.
go
We
ahead.
got an election coming up today. Yes.
You weren't watching earlier, Miss Bryant, Miss Michelle Bryant,
Yeah.
tells everybody to go vote. Realize she didn't know her voter location because she's been early voting for years.
Okay.
She actually had to look this year. She did. But so everybody, you need to know your status for voting, for registration, or where your voter location is. And we definitely say status because, we've been kind of lax. We didn't have a heavy November election. But
Right. And they purged. No, we didn't. And they purged.
and they've been purging folks. They did purge some elected officials from the.
Mm-hmm.
You go to myvotewi.gov. And once again, it's myvote.
He taking all my talking points.
So it's myvote.wi.gov.
Vote WI.
No, it's myvote.wi.gov.
I'm just going to tell you. I typed in my phone. I just typed in myvote.wi.gov and passed it to Michelle so she could see. So I got you.
Yeah. But that's the
But
back way.
we want to,
Gotcha.
we got a wonderful special guest coming on today, which we'll, in case you don't come in, because we don't be telling, because we got people who be coming in and then not showing up, but we got a special guest. But we want to start off with having a conversation on why primaries are important. I know usually we come in and we talk with our, the candidates, or we talk to our partners, but today this is something that we really need to get through and let people know that this is an election. And even though there's only a few things on the ballot, you are deciding who the two people that are going to be, especially in the city of Milwaukee, who are going to be the two people that you have a choice on the ballot for. Now, there's three people. You can choose any of the three, which is Cavalier Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
Aisha Griffin, or David King. This is important. Huh?
Dr. David.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. David King. We've had two of the three on, and we'll have, the mayor on again in the future, but you have to decide
Your voice.
who are you going to want a choice in? Because right now you're not picking not necessarily picking who the mayor is going to be. You're saying, who do I want to see on that ballot? Who's my first choice? And then the second most popular will get on too. So that means then they have to vie for that seat. But it is
Then you can do more research.
then it's so important that you express your vote. This is the other part that I think is so important is population matters, popularity matters. If you get enough people who think like you to vote, that's how you get things done. Now, don't be mad if you're sitting around and you don't go out there and vote. and somebody who you didn't like gets in. And especially when sometimes it's 1 vote, 2 votes, 3 votes that make the whole difference.
Then we always talking about the lesser evil. Let's vote. We got to vote for the lesser evil.
But we want to stop that mentality. There's a couple of things that I really, at least with Wisconsin Voices, we're going to be trying to do. First, we're trying to engage year round, not just election year, not just right at the moment, not, it's almost election time, let's go hurry up and do a GOTV, get out the vote type thing. We try to engage all year round, even in the off year, which is considered just the April election. And then we have April, we have the fan, right? Fan, February, April, August, and November this year. But you can get enough people who are like-minded like you to vote for a particular candidate that you all like, because there's 2 things politicians actually pay attention to: votes and money. If you give enough money, they're going to come to you, oh yeah, you can't, you gave me this, this money, and I'm going to come and say thank you. Not that they can't be bought. You can't buy their vote, but they're going to appreciate what you did for them. The second is whoever is voting the most. And if you have a big ward that vote comes out and vote, and all of a sudden you have an issue, I bet you 9 times out of 10 that elected official is going to say, well, let me see what they want. We have to do better. The phone lines are open, 414-444-5250. LaToya, I know you worked a lot with our previous policy director, Jamie, and she did a lot of election protection stuff. Just talk about what you did in the past and some of the stuff that you saw that makes us really want to make sure that we're doing it right this cycle.
So me and Jamie, we would have a strategy on election day. I would go out to polling places in the inner city of Milwaukee and count the votes from say like 9 in the morning, 1-ish, then after 3, then after 6, to see how popular are people, how many people are getting out to vote in each ward. And as we go into these polling locations, I was seeing some of them didn't even have a sign up to tell you it was a polling location. So people wouldn't even know that it's a polling location. Some places had purged people off the voters list. So when they came in with their IDs and stuff, they had a whole big process. They had to go back and get a whole bunch of other information and to even vote. Then you had some people that got changed to another polling location, and they didn't send the information to their address, so that they didn't know where their polling location was. You had some polling locations that were just totally intimidating, mean. You walk in the door and you just got this mean person standing in front of you and hollering, basically snapping at you. If you don't know how to walk in that door, go to where they want you to go and follow their directions. So that turned people away as well. I watched a lady just be like, forget it. Because she really, to be honest with you, she looked like she wanted to hit the lady. But it's just the truth. So it's important for us to really cast our vote and let our voices be heard, because that it's sad that you don't have signs up to even show people where the election.
There is, I don't know where I heard this. So if somebody realizes that they said it, call us, say, yeah, I said that. But I heard it somewhere where there is value in our vote. And if you're a criminal, or if you are a person trying to get something, you only want to get stuff of value. You're not going to go and go in a store and steal a feather. It has no value at that particular time. And you could potentially go to jail for stealing or get a ticket for stealing a feather. You only try to take or steal something that is of value. And our vote has been time and time tried taken away from us, whether it was, voting tax or tests you needed to take or whatever it is. It's always been tried to take away. Then they did the restrictions, you have to have an ID. Then they took away the drop boxes. So it's less, it's less convenient. If it, at the time, my mother, love Lady Mae Gray. My mother was, she had a knee issue, so she couldn't get out the house. And she had got her ballot a little late. So it wasn't enough time to put it in the mail to get it to her on time. So she literally had to get up and struggle to turn it in. She couldn't even have my dad turn it in because you have to turn your own ballots into the place. So there are so many things, so many ways they try to stop our vote. Why are we letting them do it?
Just like another thing I thought about when you brought that up, Mika, polling locations are supposed to have somebody come out. They're supposed to have somebody come out if a person is disabled to their car. And a lot of these polling locations are not even tracking that, not even coming out to see if a person needs them to come out and get their ballot and take it back in for them. Because you do have that right where if you're disabled, that someone can come out to your car and bring your ballot, let you fill it out, and take it back in for you. And I've been finding out from a lot of different locations, it's little things that they do to make it hard for us to vote.
We just remember that all the information you need is on myvote.wisconsin.gov. If you put your address in, like I wanted to test it out, I put my address in. It showed that where I live in Glendale, I don't have a primary. So it says your next election is April 2nd. If you have any questions, it gave me my my municipality clerk. It gave me where the ward I was supposed to be. So it is a plethora of information that you have on there. Please, myvote.wi.gov.
Catch Wisconsin Voices via Voice Radio every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. as we focus on community partnerships, voter education, and long-term collective impact for all Wisconsinites.
You're listening to Wisconsin Voices via Voice Radio. Follow us at BAWI Voice and learn more at wisconsinvoices.org.
Well, one of the things we want to get back to this voting is people like, I've heard many times, time and time again, I don't vote. It don't matter. My one vote. Like, again, let's talk about the brother over in Wauwatosa who won by a provisional vote, not just one vote that came in. Somebody had to vote, go back home, get whatever they needed to make their vote valid, bring it back in to show them the proof. That's how he won.
Yes. One vote.
One vote.
First African American
in Wauwatosa.
I'm a council member in Wauwatosa. One vote.
One vote. Yeah. We got some one. We don't got no. See, on your show, he like to give us little music in between, and he won't do that.
Yeah,
No, I'm not talking. I would never talk about you. So let's. One of the things voting does bring community together. Have you ever been mad at one of y'all elected officials?
All the time.
And y'all do whatever y'all can to get them out. Let's talk about that recall. Even though it didn't work, but when y'all galvanized recall for Scott Walker, everybody was trying to. Everybody wanted. That was because they were mad about something because of Act 10 or whatever it was. They galvanized. Now, it didn't go the way they wanted it to, but there were people there. There were people talking about it, trying to come together. That's what we need to do in every election, making sure that we put the best representative of our communities in office, and then monitoring them, watching them, see if they're doing what we want as a community.
Holding them.
And if they don't, hold them accountable. If they don't, finding someone else that will do what the community says do what the community needs to do. But you also have to respect that they know information that you will never know. And if they can come out and explain to you, this is why I think this is, you may not agree with it, but you know that they have information and it's in the best interest. And that's why you're putting them in there. If it's not a majority, okay, this is 50-50. The city is, torn on this. You're putting them in to say, I'm going to make my best judgment and make decisions regarding your district, your city, your town, whatever it is.
Right.
Miss Michelle, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
In your small, short stint in this political, what has it been, 20 plus years?
Yeah, we right at 20.
Right at 20, but you've actually been in the other things for.
Yeah, I mean, like party stuff and just advocacy long before, but officially working in the legislature and working on political campaigns, about 20 years.
And so what is your take? What is your sense of why people don't want to vote?
I mean, you have folks that get clearly frustrated because the whole thing, a lot of people talk about, even more so now, we live in a microwave society. So everybody wants everything quick. And if I can't see immediate results, then I don't understand the value. But we also have the historical situation in which folks have said, candidates have knocked on the door, they've promised the world, and ultimately haven't either lived up to those promises or people don't understand. And sometimes even the candidates themselves, particularly new candidates to the game, don't understand. You can go to the Wisconsin State Legislature to be one of 132. In the Assembly, God help your soul, you won a 99. You 33 in the Senate. So you got to get all these other people on board, or a majority of these people on board, to make law, to make things happen. The process is interesting because it can be painfully slow when it's something you want. And you are amazed at how quick things can happen when it's the thing that you don't want to see happen. So I think that when folks don't see immediate results for what it is they are working for, that's what frustrates people. And then there are people, like they just did a special on MSNBC with Black men who were saying, we feel that our voices have been ignored, that we've been left out of these conversations. Black women are the most dependable electorate in the United States of America, period. And they're loyal to a fault. So a lot of stuff is done and catered to Black female voters. But you just have like different demographics who will say, if Hispanic or Latino men, were to step up and have this conversation, they would probably echo the sentiments of many Black men that we're not being targeted, as it relates to the things that we care about in the community. So I think the fact that folks don't get a quick return on the investment of voting in a candidate is frustrating to a lot of people.
And it takes, and the thing is, sometimes I feel that we have a strategy. It's going to work. But because it wasn't, it's two things. It wasn't an immediate, result. They'll go back to the strategy from 6 years ago that worked that one time, but haven't worked. And they just keep doing the same thing, thinking that they're going to get a different result.
I mean, but you can say we have a strategy, but, I've watched working in then Senator Taylor's office. We reintroduced the same bills like 4 sessions in a row. That's 8 years, that you are at it, trying to get the anti-shackling bill done so that you don't put physical restraints on a pregnant woman, even during the birthing process. Like, that's a no-brainer. I remember when
they're going to get up as they're getting ready to push a child out and
you
run.
Threat to security. And so they got you shackled while you're trying to give birth. When we did the legislation to try to make it illegal for police officers to have sexual contact with a person in their custody, because Wisconsin was one of 3 states that it was not illegal. And so this is a no-brainer. But we actually have police associations that did not want to sign legislators to sign onto the bill. So even when it makes sense, even when you have a plan, even when the majority of lay people would be like, of course we're going to do that, you would be amazed at who will step forward to block a plan and for the reasons that they block this plan. Most often it's about self-preservation. But that, and I think that again, that's the thing that even new legislators find out coming into the building, the stuff that you go, like, y'all got to be kidding me. We're not going to do something about reckless driving. We're not going to do something about gun violence. You know, I mean, people go, I always remember Barack Obama talking about going to Sandy Hook. The photos that we will never see from that shooting, some of those kids were decapitated with the strength of the firearms that were used against them. There were legislators who physically walked through that building shortly after that murder. And everybody said, of course they're going to act now. Of course they're going to. These were first graders.
And it did not happen.
Nothing changed. And so that's the thing when you talk about, yeah, I got a plan, but the things that can be waiting in the background to stop you, and in this case, to stop us from taking meaningful legislation to keep automatic weapons out of the hands of certain people, to do something as simple as, red flag laws, to make sure that we don't have bump stops where people can turn a weapon into an automatic weapon. I mean, just small things, but you got like us. And then this is the crazy part. The majority of people will agree with you. Even in the case of gun control or, responsible gun ownership, a number of conservatives are at the table. We agree. But you got the small minority in terms of the gun lobbies and their advocates that have been able to get control of legislators and keep this off the table.
And it's usually money and votes. Those are the things that actually matter. We are Wisconsin Voices, Be a Voice, WNOV, 860 AM, 105.6 FM. If you have a call, want to comment, 414-444-5250. Miss Michelle, I have, it's one of the things that actually annoy me about our community, this community, is that we do care and we won't physically do anything. We have so many opinions and good ideas, but we won't get up out of our chairs to go do something. I mean, and I'm not talking about everybody, because there are some people who work really hard and are all over the place. But I have had so many conversations where there is these brilliant ideas, these intellectuals telling exactly what to do. And I was like, well, why won't you do it? Or why don't you, join the team? Oh, no, they ain't going to listen to me. No, we are listening. People are listening. That's why we have the partnerships we have as Wisconsin Voices. You like that plug? I pull it right back. It's
Weird way to work it in.
We have a caller. Let me see what the caller has to say here. Good morning. What's on your mind, caller?
Hey, how y'all doing this morning? Keon, Miss Michelle, Toya, and you, Miss Tamika.
What's up, Todd Stewart?
I'm trying to give everybody. Yeah. You can't forget Joe.
Miko.
Did you forget?
That's what I call my stepdaughter. I'm sorry.
Wait, why are they like this to the corner?
Why?
Then you gotta say what's there.
A baby in the
I got no screen right now. But anyway, I'm listening on the actual radio because the delay on the social media slow, and I'll be trying to get stuff in real time. Neither here nor there. This is in real time. 10:45, Ward 143. I'm number 5 at the polling location.
CEO.
Where's that location at?
21st Street School, Hadley. 21st and out. Gwen T. Jackson School.
Yeah. And you said 10:45, you're the 5th vote?
Yeah.
And it opened up at 7.
Look. That's tough.
Thank you, Todd. We have to do better. We just have to do better. I'm wondering, one of the things that concern me, and Michelle, you can talk about it, is, well, first I want to go back to Michelle was talking about this different legislation that we want to do federally, statewide, but these elections on these ballots today are local elections. And I have heard so many people, why can't I get my recycling picked up every week? Why does it have to be every other week? This is the election. I mean, these are for these people that are going to help you. Why is there so many potholes? These are this election. This is the mayor. These are the alder people. These are the elections that count for that quality of life every day. This is police, talking about police. You want more, you want less, whatever it is. These are these elections. This is not a state election. These are not federal elections. These are not going to, this is our local, how do we handle our own house kind of thing. This is when you should be speaking up. Speaking of that, Michelle, those new maps were signed into law, right?
Yes, Governor Evers on yesterday signed in new legislative districts or boundary lines. They have been met with cheers and consternation, depending on some of the camps that you talk to. But for the first time in 15 years, Democrats that, or I shouldn't say, I won't say it that way, given the kind of organization Wisconsin Voices, I'll say it this way. Given in the first time in 15 years, given the way the maps have been drawn to favor one political party over another, when you can have general elections that yield a 54% swing, let's just say, towards people that are more Democratic, but yet Republicans walk away with 2/3 of the seats of the legislature, for the first time in a long time, we have maps that give a better shot at reflecting the actual will of the people, a better shot at actually reflecting, how folks voted in these polling booths. But one of the things I was telling you in the break that people need to be conscientious of is while folks are celebrating, there were people that were not particularly happy because they were concerned about the impact to African-American representation in the 4th Senate District. That's Senator Taylor's old district. Senator Taylor actually spent $12,000 of her own money in an amicus brief to go along with the lawsuit that was filed back in 2022. And so there are some concerns about the Voting Rights Act. There were, if just for transparency and truth, there were only 2 Democrats that actually went along with the governor's maps. It was primarily put into place by Republicans who control the legislature, 2 Democrats, one in the Assembly, one in the Senate, and then the governor signed it. That's a crazy, you never see that happen, where you got all Republicans in the legislature and the Democratic governor coming together to get something through. So that was interesting in and of itself. But the other thing that people need to be aware of is that this is not the end of the conversation on redistricting. There's another group that is bringing forward a lawsuit to look at the congressional districts. We have 8 congressional districts in Wisconsin. Again, this is a 50-50 state. We are the same state that can elect Scott Walker and Barack Obama.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. We as a people, we could elect Scott Walker and Barack Obama. And so
we do Tony Evers and then Ron Johnson.
Exactly. Right. Good example.
Right.
And so we know that something is amiss in the way these district lines are set up. So now that they have gone in and determined that the legislative maps were unconstitutional, the congressional maps are also being viewed as unconstitutional. And because how do you end up with 6 Republican-controlled congressional seats and 2 2 Democratically leaning seats if this is a 50-50 state?
Right.
Something's happening. And so that's the other thing for everyone to keep their eye on, is that there is another suit that's going to be in place. And right now, where there's pretty much been only one pathway for an African-American to get into Congress, and that's been through the district that Congresswoman Gwen Moore now holds, there may be additional lanes that an African-American person of color has a good shot at getting a congressional seat. Because right now it's pretty much you coming through, and I forgot, it's Gwen's the 4th district, 4th congressional district. So you coming through one district right now.
Please join Wisconsin Voices every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. We will be focusing on community partnerships, voter education, and long-term collective impact for all Wisconsinites.
You're listening to Wisconsin Voices Be a Voice Radio. Follow us at BAWI Voice and learn more at wisconsinvoices.org.
6 weeks now.
Where
And
are you? What part of Ohio?
West Central, so in between Lima, Ohio, and Fort Wayne.
Oh,
and we don't know where none of that is.
Soybeans, corn, and cows.
okay.
That's what we have there.
So, are you glad to be free?
I'll tell you, I tell these guys all the time that I feel really blessed to be part of this organization and be welcomed into the community of Milwaukee. And it's just been a wonderful experience thus far. So very happy to be here.
He had to take a chance because he had to move his whole body, soul, all the way here in a place that he didn't know.
Oh, this is you. Oh, you knew completely.
Yeah.
New.
Yeah. He moved here. Like, we offered him the position the day after Christmas. He was here January 8th, I think he was.
Yeah.
It just was good timing, and he
Well, from one transplant to another, it's all right.
you ain't no transplant now.
I am a transplant. I will be on future.
Okay, let me see. You've been here 92 years, and now you're saying a friend. Yeah. No, I'm gonna stop talking about it because people. That's why people who there are people like Michelle who is brilliant and just I love listening to her work and just breaking it down for the layman like myself. Sometimes I don't understand some of the language, but then again, she can't drive. But everybody can't be perfect.
You know what?
Yeah, I think she coming for the late day.
I know she got stuck in the snow and
Oh yeah.
the rain.
I know, and she could have. I don't know what she could have did, but she got those big tires on that.
We got 4x4.
Really?
Yeah, then you want to get on that too?
Okay.
And then I tried to help her out and tell her to get a Nissan, but she already had one.
No, she got the better truck.
I'm just really like the voice of Wisconsin is not speaking right now.
I know, because we're Wisconsin voicing.
So, I do like voice.
No, we are throwing all kind of love. We really appreciate you. You have any calls, concerns? 414-444-5.
Y'all calmed down in the day after Aisha Griffin.
You know what?
I'm just saying.
Now, Michelle, how do you feel about
I heard it was wild and loose.
No, we have just given all the candidates a platform to express who they are and what they are and what they believe.
I mean, I heard that part too.
And I just had to do the disclosure.
But I heard that the theme music Wild and Loose was played in the background.
and Michelle, do you know how many times she had to say, we, this is not, the same from Wisconsin?
No, it was just
But but that's the great part about, I think about like what has happened in Russia with the murder or assassination of Navalny and, one of, the folks that was most willing to challenge Vladimir Putin for his seat for the presidency. And these are things we take for granted, but that Aisha Griffin, who's actually running in 4 different races right
possibly 5, depending.
The county, executive, mayor, aldermanic,
2 aldermanic.
the 2 aldermanic
Yep.
districts. But that's the beauty of our system is that you can be anyone who, long as you meet those basic criteria, which is almost just to be breathing these days, and you can run for public office. And you get to weigh in. You get to take the barbershop conversations, what y'all talk about at the family reunion, what you talking about at the house, and actually go out and say, I want to change it. I want to be a part of it. And so not just the voting, but I get to actually be the person at the table making those decisions.
And
we have an amazing system here.
And that is when you decide, Do I want her to represent me? Do I want Chevy Cavalier to represent me? Do I want David King to represent me? That is when you can make a choice. So knowing everybody, or Dr. David King, sorry, whatever we have or we do, that is, y'all, let's take our caller. They act as their caller. Caller, what you got for us?
Hey, hello, y'all.
No, hey, what's that?
Happy voting day.
I know that's right.
Hey, I want to call and thank the whole sister. I didn't get your name.
Me, Tamika?
Tamika? Tamika. Beautiful, beautiful name, Tamika. Yesterday, I was listening to your interview with Miss Griffith. Yeah, you know what? I go way back with her to some protests with her sister. Okay? So, his sister was locked up.
No, refreshes.
Yeah, Lacey Griffin got in the political protest game when her sister was locked up, and her sister went on a hunger strike, and she was afraid that they was trying to poison her to jail. And we was just trying to, when she stopped eating, Sheriff Clark wouldn't let her go to the hospital. So we went down there to make that happen. But I'm just bringing that up because, I'm familiar with her, but I know she's unpolished. And, but she has a lot of political knowledge. And I just want to thank you for that interview yesterday, because I was going to skip this one out because I am not a Cavalier fan. I won't have been a fan of the mayor. Okay. Now I acknowledge that, yes, he's done some great things downtown. All right. And so I was listening to that Sister Clark, and I'm like, you know what? She is probably the only hope that the community, the neighborhood, the hood has for a positive influence or injection of commerce and activities for our youth. She is probably the only person on that damn mayoral ballot who at least has expressed an interest in us. So, having said that, at 12:15, I'm headed to my polling place to vote for I.
Well, we're not, and that's how we do our democracy. We figure out who we think is the best representative. By the way, the views, the views of our guests is not necessarily the views of WNOV, Wisconsin Voices, or our staff.
But I mean, he makes a perfect,
makes a valid point.
What I said, that literally, if you are passionate about service, if you are passionate about wanting to see change, if there are things that you believe should be happening, and I tell people, when you look, particularly in communities of color, the biggest gains we've made as a people have been out of exercising our right to vote. Now, that's why people are attacking those very things. So when you talk about the Voting Rights Act of 1965, affirmative action, women's reproductive health, Brown v. Board of Education, all of those things happen because of vote. And, and so, like we said, if it didn't matter, people wouldn't work so hard to try to take it from you. You'll say that again.
If it doesn't have a value, you don't want it. If it has value, that's when you try to take it. That's when you want to own it. That's when you want to get it.
Right. Yeah, but we got to be able to let, those voices. And I'm going to tell you, it's something, because even when the caller said Aisha is unpolished, it depends on what we talk about in terms of polish. Because people have tried to define what your behavior and mannerism should be. And for the folks that are just raw, I ain't going to give it to you straight, no chaser. And because the thing that's crazy is that Donald Trump can do this foolishness all day, and it's amazing. Somebody else do it, particularly a person of color, and, it's unacceptable. We have to define as communities what we want to see in leaders. And a lot of us, we go along to get along. this is the status quo. I can't support this person because I know, the way they come off, nobody else is going to come and support him. And is it a wasted vote? But I like what the brother said about he had made, at first he wasn't going to participate because he didn't think he had a voice at the table. He heard Aisha. He decided that she said something that was palatable to him and that he was going to go ahead and vote. Now, even if the data says this young lady probably won't win, people still pay attention to the dissenting vote.
Yeah.
We talk about undercounts.
Right.
The number of people that go to the polls and there are 5 things on their ballot. And in this particular race, as I did in a high profile race not that long ago, I said I'm not voting in that race because I don't like my choices. I'm voting in the other, races on the ballot that day. So people pay attention and hopefully it informs you. It informs you as the person who does get elected. You understand everybody wasn't riding with you. And I might need to do a couple things different.
And the one thing is you can look at this race in the mayoral race. The mayor should win heavily. If he doesn't, he has an issue that he needs to work on.
But you need to say why.
Listen to the people.
But you need to say why you think that the mayor would win. And I mean, because number one, incumbency is
Right.
always,
That's what I'm talking about, incumbent.
Number two, the amount of financial resources is that, these people that are in grassroots, they don't have a ton of money. They're self-financing their own campaigns. There is no machine. There is no consulting agency out to do their bidding. There's no mailers. There's no machine. So helping people understand why you make that kind becomes critical. And that's the thing that keeps a lot of everyday people out of these races because you understand what you're about to be up against. So the data says that, yeah, he should handedly win this race.
If he doesn't, or it's quite a bit, 20, 30% that doesn't go that route, then he has to think. I mean, even if it's that big, he has to think a little bit about what. I just think he needs to think. I can't tell him what he needs to think, but that means that there are quite a few people who are not pleased. What can I do to change my image, or what am I missing? There is so much that happens over a course of a election. We have to all decide who we are going to vote for. We just got a text. Someone was number 13 at Vincent High School. And that's a pretty...
At 12 o'clock.
Yeah, at 12 o'clock, number 13. We have
We
to
had to get up and use our voice.
And that's my polling location this morning.
So we will be back later on sometime today because Michelle will be doing the
Election Central from 3 to 8 p.m.
and we'll come back over here to see what she's doing, and mess with her. We got to mess with her. This is Wisconsin Voices, Be a Voice.
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 Visit WisconsinVoices.org.
Visit WisconsinVoices.org.
Visit WisconsinVoices.org.
And learn more on how to be a voice with Wisconsin Voice.